welcome to this edition of Wait a Minute, where I'm interviewing various lady bosses on how they stay healthy and centered for the holidays. Today we have with us lady boss Arielle Haspel, who is a nutritionist, healthy lifestyle, and entertaining expert. She is the host of Glamour Magazine's Treat Yourself cooking show, as well as Healthy Nation's Clean Eating. So welcome to Wait a Minute, Arielle.
Thank you. At first I thought you were like, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Awesome.
Wait a minute. Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. And I know that you are such a whiz in the kitchen and entertaining. And so the holidays must totally be your time to shine and, share all of your talents. But before we go into all that, I want to know, what does self-care mean to you?
So, I've learned definitely within the past few years that the better I take care of myself, the better of a person I am, the happier I am, the better partner I could be, the better wife I could be, the better aunt I could be. I'm also growing a little baby in my tummy right now, and I know that the better I take care of myself, the better I could take care of others, and the happier I'll be in the world and the more inspiring I'll be. So that's really what self-care means to me.
I love that. So it's like really focusing your energy on you so that you can show up in your relationships and in your job, your career, bigger and brighter because you're well hydrated, you're well taken care of.
Exactly. And so self-care to me can be anywhere from eating a really grounding, delicious breakfast in the morning, bringing, water around with me every day. So, no matter where I'm going or who I'm seeing, I'll always, be hydrated during the day. Self-care can mean that to me, or it can mean, taking an extra 5 minutes in my shower and maybe sprinkling a little bit of eucalyptus or peppermint to, help liven me up a little bit. Or maybe it's like just listening to some music while I'm in the shower and, having a good time just with myself and just enjoying life while I'm doing other things. So self-care means, feeling good on I would say a minute-to-minute basis.
I love that because that's something that I've been talking to some other lady bosses about as well, is like self-care doesn't have to be this like I only like drink green smoothies and go to the gym and like that's how I'm practicing and taking care of myself. But it's like all those little moments and choices you can make where, you can just put that little extra splash of special intention and you time into it. So I love that idea of the, eucalyptus oil in the shower or just, blasting music and dancing around. Like those are some of my favorite things to do as well.
And so I consider that self-care.
Yeah. Beautiful. So when the holidays, since they're slowly creeping in, when the holidays come in, how do you prioritize taking care of yourself? And when there's so much busyness and so much going on, how do you kind of create those boundaries for yourself to make sure that you're still getting that self-care time in?
Well, the holidays are so fun, right? They're all about celebration. It's, a lot of people think it's all about, healthy, not healthy, but food, not, friends. So I consider the holidays a really exciting time. I don't really, consider it any like negative connotations with holidays, but I can totally see why people do have some negative connotations. But in terms of taking care of myself and creating boundaries, I say yes to events that feel really good for me, or that I'm inspired or excited to go to. So I don't say yes to every single party or event. And I get invited to a lot, and I'm so grateful for all the invites that I get, but I don't say yes to everything. And especially with the baby in my belly, I don't have energy to say yes to everything. But before I was even pregnant, I think that focusing on saying yes to the things that really get you excited, and not necessarily saying no to things, but really saying yes to the things that get you excited. That's how I really create my boundaries when it comes to holidays.
How do you know what gets you excited? Like, how do you feel it in your body, or like what thought goes on in your head? What's like kind of your trigger that's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to this party?
That's the feeling that I have. It's like there's no resistance. I think it's all about resistance. And so when it feels good, when it feels exciting, when I can visualize myself there in a happy mood, that's when it feels good. That's when I get excited about something. When there's more of a resistance, I try to figure out what the resistance is. Maybe it's something, you know, deep down that I need to work on myself. But yeah, usually it's really just feeling good. And for many people, it's different. For me, it's just like an exciting feeling.
Yeah. So like no doubt whatsoever. It's just like, yeah, of course. And so like, when you do hear that doubt, it's like, maybe I won't say yes right now, or I'll wait, or let me check in with myself in a few days.
Exactly. And sometimes it's not responding to an invite right away. Sometimes it's, you know, waiting a day and sleeping on it and seeing how you feel about it. And if you feel in a day like aren't really excited about it, I wouldn't say hell yes to it then.
Totally. And so when you go to these events, what are some of your healthy ways and tips that you could share with the audience on how to maybe prevent over snacking or overeating, or maybe like what options they should look for at the, you know, smorgasbord of appetizers? Because that's what, you know, I hear a lot of my clients who they get kind of anxious about going to all these events because they're like, I only end up eating like cheese and cookies and I feel like shit. And then the holidays just kind of make me feel worse about myself.
Totally. And that's totally understandable. And listen, when there are like apple cider donuts and pumpkin pie and lemon pie and, you know, delicious nachos at an event, you know, it could be really exciting to eat those things. For me, I really try not to deprive myself. So I actually try to give myself the opportunity to taste things if I want to taste them. And usually that's enough. If I feel like I'm depriving myself in any way, then I feel like I end up overeating at the next event. So, you know, for example, yesterday I went to it was like a pregnancy event, but it was like a pregnancy holiday event, and they had apple cider donuts. And, you know, instead of depriving myself, they looked so amazing. I'm also in the food world, and I need to know what a real apple cider donut tastes like. Real as in, you know, made of wheat flour and sugar, delicious sugar, butter, and everything like that. And so I had a little bite, and I enjoyed that bite, and it was delicious. And, you know, I stood there and I really savored it, and I let it melt in my mouth, and I, you know, tasted all the delicious flavors. And so when you do try something, you know, I wouldn't say do it from an energy where, one, you're excited to try it, but two, you come from it from a very calm place where you're really able to savor literally every lick, every bite, every swallow, right? And so that creates a very, very different experience, whether it is, you know, a bite of pumpkin pie or an apple cider donut or even something healthy, you're actually really enjoying it. So that's one tip that I would give at, you know, a holiday event. You know, I'm always kind of the advocate of not depriving yourself. But a lot of people don't have that type of, and I hate to say like self-control. But another tip to feel good when you get to an event, right? Because that's really what it's about too. You know, very often you can come from it from an emotional standpoint, like, oh my God, these people have great dresses on and like, I don't feel as great as them. Or, you know, I don't know, silly things that might come up that are deeper for you and that may cause you to overeat or may cause you to want that comforting, you know, whole piece of pecan pie.
Right, like you get triggered in that space.
You're triggered, totally. And so what I often say is, you know, before you leave your house, do whatever it takes to feel your best. Visualizing feeling your greatest. Maybe it's, you know, looking in the mirror and, you know, it sounds kind of silly, but look in the mirror and tell yourself, you know, 2 things that are really great and special and unique about yourself. Or, you know, on your train ride there, on your car ride there, you know, just kind of psych yourself up for being at that party. And hopefully you'll walk in with grace and with confidence and with a certain kind of zen so you won't end up overeating. But then, you know, another tip is that I always like to spatially see what I have on my plate. So whether it's like hors d'oeuvres or if there's a buffet, I like to take, and I don't just like take, you know, some appetizers and then eat the appetizers. What I usually do is I like to look at everything that they have, the whole spread, and I like to put it on a plate and I put anything that I want on the plate. And so I could spatially, when I sit down, I could spatially see everything that's on my plate. And very often you'll end up finding that you don't end up overeating because you end up eating the amount that you are satisfied with when you can see everything on your plate.
I love that.
Right there.
Yeah. Well, I love it. You said, you brought up so many points about like the energy, thinking about the energy that you're walking into at that space. So even like approaching the table, right? If you're coming through a panic, then like you're going to want to try to eat as fast as you can. So like you don't even see it, right? That you even ate something. So it's like coming to it with a calm energy or feeling your best as you enter into that event. I love that. Or just, I totally agree, because when you see your plate, you then know how much you're eating versus like, oh, let me just like grab a cracker over here. And then like later you've had like 10 brownies and didn't realize it.
Totally. And listen, yesterday when I was at that event, did I want to eat the entire apple cider donut? I totally could have, but I have a respect for my body, and I love my body so much, and I know what it feels like after I have an entire donut, and I don't feel great after I eat something like that. So, and I wanted to feel great at the event. I wanted to feel great the rest of the day. It was an early event, and so when you come from a place where you feel really good before you walk over the table, or you feel really good before you go to an event, it sets you up in a very positive way. So you end up feeding yourself with foods that will love you back. Right?
Yeah.
They're going to make you feel like crap after.
Totally. And I love it. It's right. It's practicing balance, right? Because it's so true. Like, I don't believe in depriving myself of anything either. Life is too short. And if that fucking donut looks good, like, yeah, have a bite. And it's that balance of how can you enjoy and indulge, but not overindulge. And for some, that's a practice. And that's like, just something of learning to tap into their body of when, they know that just a few bites is enough versus the whole thing.
And it's really about savoring each bite. It's not just like giving yourself 3 bites. And so like you take the 3 bites and shovel it down your face, right? It's like you take a bite.
Yeah.
And that might even be enough. You enjoy it and you taste it and you savor it and you let it go down and you swallow with a relaxed mind.
Totally. Being kind of mindful eating, kind of practicing mindful eating while you're maybe not in a super quiet place, but finding that quietness inside yourself to use it.
Totally. Exactly.
Love it. And so what are some of your tips and tricks for entertaining, for maybe hosting an event, whether it's like just girls coming over or whether it's a, big holiday party you're having? Any simple, healthy tips and tricks you have to share with the audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So what I love doing for events, and this is kind of just what I do in general. I have a blog called Be Well with Arielle, and I call them Healthified recipes. So again, I don't like depriving myself, but I like really feeding myself with nourishing foods that taste exactly like my favorite indulgent foods, but with less guilt. So there might be ways when you're making your holiday dinner, if you are making stuff and entertaining and actually cooking, there may be really creative ways for you to swap some of the ingredients that you typically use with healthier ingredients. So for example, sugar. White sugar. I never have white sugar in my house. I really, to be honest, don't really find a use for it because I found really creative ways to use other types of natural sweeteners. So you could try like a coconut palm sugar in a cookie or in a cake or in a pie crust, for example. Coconut palm sugar is a less processed sugar, and it tastes a little more like brown sugar than white sugar. It has more of like a caramelized, like molasses flavor. It's really, really delicious, and you could totally swap it for white sugar. So finding ways where you can make healthier swaps that don't sacrifice taste.
I love that, because I cook with coconut sugar as well, and it's because it just doesn't give you that sugary headache and like stomach ache that you get from like a white sugar cookie. So that's a great tip to practice of how to kind of simplify a simple recipe.
Totally. Yeah. So that's one tip, especially because when we think of holidays, we think of sweets, at least I do.
Yeah.
But I guess another tip is, when you're entertaining, no matter if you're ordering in or you're, cooking yourself in your kitchen and making a whole feast, just figure out a way to bring as much love and positive energy to the event. So, even while I'm cooking, even just for a dinner for me or for me and my husband or for me and 10 friends at my apartment, I always just, even if it's, a lot of food to make or there are a lot of people coming over and it can be kind of stressful. What I like to do is I like to focus on the positive, right? Having, just creating a beautiful space for people to congregate and inviting people into my home. And so while I'm cooking or preparing, I'll put on, great music while I'm cooking, and I'll light candles, and I'll buy flowers just to make my apartment look really pretty. So these are just simple ways to add, a lot of love into your apartment. But, just remember, it doesn't need to be perfect. It's always about the love that you bring.
So again, kind of focusing on like the energy that you're bringing into the situation.
Absolutely.
Like being positive, loving, creating that space for others, and the food that you create, putting that love into that food.
Totally.
Love it. What is one piece of advice that you love and try to live by it, but sometimes don't always live by it?
Really good one. So what I would say is, on an everyday basis, I do whatever it takes to really be the best version of myself. And in that, I could put a lot of pressure on myself for, like what is really perfection, right? There's, for me, the ideal situation, the ideal project, the ideal event, whatever I'm doing at that time could be, perfect can mean something different. But what I would say is, because I strive to be the best very often and every day, sometimes I could put a lot of pressure on myself. So that's something that's definitely, a challenge and that I work on, but I always try to find creative ways to add more ease and add more zen and add more calm into my life. So whatever I'm doing will just be a calmer, more fun process.
Love that. Love that. Beautiful. Well, so what is one holiday recipe that, maybe even your favorite holiday recipe that you're planning on making this year, that maybe is on your blog or something that you want to share with the audience?
Sure. So last year, I was obsessed with apple cider donuts, so I made a healthified version. So that's on my blog. But also, I just created a pumpkin pie filling that is out of this world amazing.
Yum.
I made it with maple syrup instead of white sugar. I made it with almond milk instead of butter and instead of cream. And it is out of this world amazing. So when I do have it up, I will absolutely share. But in the meantime, you can go to bewellwitharielle.com/blog, and there are tons of recipes there. And even if they're not holiday related, some of them are holiday inspired, and a lot of them are seasonal. So you'll find a lot of like fall and winter recipes that, like a butternut squash soup, for example, that would be like delicious at a Thanksgiving or Christmas or even Hanukkah table. And so, and you could literally blend up all the ingredients, and it takes like so short amount of time, and it's so unbelievable. So anyway, my blog has a lot of recipes, but hopefully by the time this interview comes out to you guys, I will have the pumpkin pie recipe up. So be sure to check out my blog.
Awesome. And where else can people find you, Arielle?
So Instagram is a great way, at Be Well with Arielle, BEWELL with, and then ARIELLE. I also put a lot of things on Instagram story. So like my, weekly dinners, if you need some really just simple, quick, easy, healthy, delicious dinners, I always put those on Instagram story, and also just on Instagram as well. You could find me on Facebook, and then of course you could find me at my website, Be Well with Arielle.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all of your tips and tricks with us. And we'll definitely check out your blog. And thanks for all the inspiration.
Happy and healthy holidays, everyone, and be well.
Mwah.